It's pretty amazing how life's really big moments, those announcements that kind of shift everything, they often bring just the most unexpected joy.
Oh, absolutely.
And, well, if you really pay attention, they can tell you so much, not just about the people involved, but maybe about how we all see family and connection evolving.
That's so true.
So today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going deep into a recent celebrity announcement.
Mm.
And honestly, it's made waves way beyond just the usual entertainment news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story that's, well, it's packed with personal values, a really refreshing take on modern relationships, and frankly, some pretty forward-thinking ideas about building a family today.
Yeah, definitely stands out.
Our mission, then, is to really unpack the exciting news from Millie Bobby Brown and her husband, Jake Bongiovi. Two very young, very high-profile people.
Right.
We'll look at their journey to becoming parents, dig into what they actually shared, try to understand why it feels so significant, and maybe explore what it tells us about, the changing face of family in the public eye.
It's more than just gossip, for sure. It touches on bigger themes.
Exactly. This isn't just celebrity watching. It's about a conversation that I think affects us all in some way.
Agreed.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it. The big news, this all kicked off very recently, Thursday, August 21st, 2025, to be specific.
Just happened.
Millie Bobby Brown, who, she's only 21, right? Already a massive star from Stranger Things and Nola Holmes.
Huge global phenomenon, really.
And her husband, Jake Bongiovi, he's 23, son of John Bongiovi, obviously. They shared something, well, incredibly personal.
Yeah.
They put out a joint statement on Instagram announcing they'd adopted a daughter.
Wow. And the wording was quite something, wasn't it?
It really was. Strikingly simple, very honest. They just expressed this like pure joy. They said, and this is the quote, "This summer we welcomed our sweet baby girl through adoption."
So direct.
And they added, "We are beyond excited to embark on this beautiful next chapter. No games, no long buildup. Just clear, happy news." It really cut through the noise.
And that directness, that immediate joy you mentioned, that's what I find so compelling here. Historically, celebrity adoption stories, while always happy news, sometimes get framed differently.
How so?
Well, maybe around difficulties conceiving or, this idea of rescuing a child. And those are valid narratives, of course, but they can sometimes position adoption as like a plan B.
Right, or something you do later.
Exactly. But Millie and Jake, they're so young, just starting their family journey. They presented adoption not as an alternative, but as, it seems, their first choice. A primary, deliberate, cherished way to become parents.
I just did it.
They just did it. And that subtle shift in framing, especially from them, it really challenges some old ideas, doesn't it? It suggests adoption isn't just an option. Maybe it was the option for them right now.
That's a really key point. The idea of it being intentional, maybe even primary, not a backup plan. And I think to really get the weight of this, we should probably touch on their relationship journey too. Because that's also been, well, pretty fast-paced.
It has, yeah. A bit of a whirlwind.
How did they even meet? I remember reading, it was social media, right? Like very much their generation.
Yeah, Millie talked about it in a Wired interview back in 2022. Said they met online, were friends for a bit first.
Right, friends first, and then things moved quite quickly.
Very quickly.
They got engaged in April 2023.
Yep.
Then married just over a year later, May 2024. And then those wedding photos came out in October 24 from Italy, right? Looks stunning. Villa Sednali.
Absolutely gorgeous shots. It all seemed very kind of sure-footed.
It does. That speed, from meeting online to this beautiful Italian wedding in just a couple of years. For such a young, famous couple, it suggests a real certainty about each other, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like they knew what they wanted.
And maybe that confidence, that shared vision, kind of paved the way for these big family decisions they're making now.
I think it absolutely sets a precedent, in a time when lots of young people, especially famous ones, might delay marriage or big commitments. Millie and Jake seem to have gone, nope, this is it, let's build this. It feels very purposeful. Not rushed, but intentional.
Yeah, like they have a clear plan.
Exactly. A clarity of values, maybe. A vision they were just ready to start living. And I think that's crucial context for understanding their approach to parenthood now. It feels less about reacting to pressure, more about their own convictions.
That makes a lot of sense. That clarity you mentioned, it really clicks when you hear about Millie's own feelings about motherhood. This wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing after getting married.
Not at all. She's been quite open about it.
That Smartless podcast appearance back in March. That was really revealing, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She laid it out pretty clearly. She said, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but it was like, being a mom has been my thing since before I even met Jake.
Wow. Since she was a kid.
Yeah, she literally said, since I was a baby, I told my mom, like, baby dolls. She wanted to be a mom just like her own mother was to her.
That's incredibly deep-rooted then.
It really seems to be. And she connected it to her family, too. Pointed out her mom had her first kid at 21. Her dad was 19.
Wow. Young parents.
Very. And she mentioned her grandmother being a huge part of her life as well. So you see this strong family influence, this kind of multi-generational pull towards family and maybe early parenthood.
So it's this blend of, like, traditional family values, but maybe enacted in a very modern way.
I think that's a great way to put it. The desire for family feels quite traditional, but how they're going about it is very contemporary.
Okay, but let's be real. She's Millie Bobby Brown. Her career is, I mean, it's huge and still accelerating. She's acting, producing. How does someone like that realistically balance this deep desire for family with, the insane demands of that kind of career, especially starting so young?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And what's interesting is how self-aware she seems about it.
Right.
She acknowledged, focusing on her career, establishing herself as an actor, a producer, which she's clearly doing. But then she also said very firmly, I also find it so important to start a family for me personally.
So not an either situation for her.
Exactly. It wasn't like, oh, I'll do career first, then family. It was more like, these are both vital parts of my life, and I'm going to pursue them together.
That's actually quite ambitious.
Yeah.
Rejecting that old idea that women have to choose.
It really is. She seems to be creating her own path, saying both career and family are essential for her fulfillment right now.
And weaving through all this, there was that one kind of charmingly traditional detail about when they could start the family. Millie mentioned Jake had a condition.
Yes. That was fascinating. She said Jake's view was, we cannot do that until we get married. That was his thing.
So even with everything else feeling very modern and forward-thinking, there was this specific boundary about marriage first. What does that tell us?
Well, I think it speaks to their shared values again. It's just that for Jake, and presumably for them as a couple, marriage wasn't just, a piece of paper.
Right. It was a foundation.
Exactly. A necessary foundation. A commitment they wanted to make publicly and privately before taking that next huge step into parenthood. It adds another layer of intention to everything, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It makes their choice for adoption feel even more considered because it came after that commitment was formalized.
Precisely.
Which brings us back to maybe the most crucial point here. The fact that Millie had already put adoption out there as a real possibility. She wasn't quiet about it.
No, she wasn't. And her statement on it was incredibly powerful.
The one where she said, for me, I don't see having your own child as really any different as an adopting.
Yes. That specific line. Think about the impact of that.
It's huge, right? Coming from someone with her platform.
Monumental. She's basically saying, these two paths to parenthood, they hold the same weight for me. Same love, same value. She's completely dismantling that old unspoken hierarchy where biological kids are sometimes seen as the default or the real thing.
And she's saying this before adopting.
Exactly, which makes it even more authentic. It's not a justification after the fact. It's a core belief she held. And for her millions of young fans listening, that normalizes adoption in a massive way.
It reframes it completely.
Yeah.
It's just another way to build a loving family.
A totally valid, equally loving way. It reinforces that family is about commitment, about love, not just about biology.
And they seem committed to a big family, too. Didn't you mention that? Both coming from larger families.
Yes, that's right. She's one of four, he's one of four. And she confirmed a big family is definitely in our future.
Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, her long-held desire for motherhood, Jake's insistence on marriage first, their backgrounds, her very open philosophy on adoption, it paints a picture of a couple who have really, really thought about this.
Absolutely. It shows this adoption wasn't random or a backup or because they couldn't conceive biologically. We don't even know if that's the case, and it's irrelevant based on her comments. It feels like the deliberate result of their shared values and planning.
It's the culmination of a very personal, very intentional journey.
Exactly. This is where you see their values really shine through. They seem to have built a vision for their family that aligns perfectly with who they are and what they believe in, and they chose a path that frankly, is still quite convention challenging for people their age in the public eye.
So, stepping back a bit, what's really striking here is how their story, because they've shared it, goes way beyond just celebrity news. It's not just another announcement.
No, it feels different.
It feels like it offers this genuinely contemporary view on family building, one where adoption isn't seen as, plan B or something you do later, but as a perfectly valid, equally joyful way to start a family, right from the beginning.
And by being so open, they're helping to normalize that choice, chipping away at any lingering stigma. They're changing the conversation around what starting a family even looks like.
So, thinking about the listener now, beyond just finding their story interesting, what's the takeaway for you? Well, I think their story really shines a light on the very thoughtful, very personal choices people are making today about building families. Choices shaped by upbringing, by deep beliefs, by what family truly means to them.
Yeah, it reminds us there's no single right way.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all blueprint for happiness or parenthood. What matters is the love, the connection, the commitment. And maybe their example encourages us all to think a bit more broadly about what family can be.
And it also makes you think about the influence of public figures, doesn't it? When someone like Millie Bobby Brown is so authentic about her choices, not just what she did, but the thinking behind it.
Right, the why.
That authenticity really helps normalize diverse family structures. Their openness might genuinely encourage other people to explore different paths to parenthood themselves. It fosters a more understanding conversation overall.
It affirms that love and intention are the real keys, however a family comes together.
Beautifully put.
So here's something to maybe mull over as you go about your day. This deep dive into Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bongiovi's journey. What does it really tell us about how we, as a society, are redefining family and parenthood, especially under the public spotlight?
Good question.
And maybe more personally, how might their story, their choices, influence our own views, our own conversations about what it truly means to start or to grow a family today?